First of all, I want to suggest that I view this album as having two thematic sides, an A side and a B side. Would you agree with that contention? First of all,
Well, it literally does.
Physically, it does. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think there's a act one and an act two.
Yeah.
If it was to be produced on the stage or something. And that kind of happened naturally, but it all comes down to like sequencing and song choices and stuff. But yeah, I think it's meant to feel like before something terrible happens and then after something terrible happens.
Yeah. Can you expand upon, I was going to characterize them from my perspective, the sides, if you will. Can you expand upon what you mean by that, though? Because I read that in the biographical material. It's like before and after the fall, I think is the phrasing.
Yeah.
Can you expand upon that? Where were you getting at there?
Might have been a better title for the record.
Then Slipping Away, yeah.
But that feels a little, I don't know, pretentious maybe. But yeah, I mean, it kind of came organically. I think the earlier songs I was writing definitely were more story-based. Yeah, I mean, the first batch of songs that were written are kind of coming from a post-apocalyptic perspective, a sort of like a exercise in songwriting, approaching like stories that I was coming up with is like, well, this could be like a movie or it could be a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those songs started to pile up, and I was sort of figuring out how that would work as an album. And at the same time, I was writing sort of my normal songs, which were a little more personal and a little more autobiographical. So I had these two sort of piles of songs. And I thought it would be interesting to look at it from a sequencing place of like, all right, we're telling a little story about a character here who might... It's not super literal, but the first we're checking in on this middle-aged guy who's more connected to myself and my own experiences.
Yeah.
And then we kind of leave that grounding and expand into this more fantastical or less autobiographical vision of a world that we felt like we got a little like sneak preview of in 2020.
Yeah.
In 2021, when I was writing this stuff, which was like,